Dennis Kucinich, it's always great to see you. Thank you for coming back onto the show.
Great to be with you, Kim, and I look forward to our discussion.
Okay, well, I do too, because I think many of us are we just do not understand how our government just seems to be so bought off or bribed or brainwashed. I don't know what it is when it comes to the state of Israel. You recently wrote a piece in your Kucinich Report Substack titled Reflections on the 24th Anniversary of 9/11 From Twin Towers to Shock and Awe, Investigating U.S. Israel Collusion and the Road to War. And in this piece, you really detail, what's amazing about this, and I encourage everybody to read it. We have the link down below. But what's really amazing about this in reading it, my jaw just dropped. I mean, you really you bring back the quotes that Netanyahu said, Colin Powell, George Bush, all of them said to get us into this war in Iraq. And what was jaw-dropping was, I swear to you, these are the exact same phrases they're still using to get us into war with Iran. I mean, identical, almost word for word, the exact same, the exact same sentences.
Well, if it worked
Um,
once, why not do it again, right? I mean, that's you don't have to create a new book. You just take a page out of the old book that led us into war based on lies.
Well, the thing that's crazy about that is that so many people now, I mean, and one thing you also pointed out in the piece is that, people are running on, I voted against Iraq. I thought Iraq was a bad idea, right? I mean, a lot of them now are saying it was bad. It was really bad. And yet we're literally doing and allowing Netanyahu, the same guy, say the exact same stuff to us to try to get us into war with Iran.
Yeah, when it comes to using the military power of the United States, Benjamin Netanyahu has been very cunning. He predictable and uh, devastating. His he has one purpose, and that is to stay out of jail and to continue to prosecute a genocide, and and in the meantime, drag the United States along with him. Now, the one thing that we need to look at very carefully here is that the U.S. isn't a victim here. This is our foreign policy. I mean, it's like, hello, this is America's foreign policy. It is a throwback to an imperial overreach that has got us into trouble in Vietnam, in Iraq, and on and on and on. And Israel's our partner in this. The U.S. is in league with genocide right now, and that's a real question. I mean, the question here. Look, we could step in, intervene, and stop it now. I mean, it could just be an executive order, done. Okay,
Right.
but why doesn't that happen? It's because this is our policy. Israel is the tip of the spear, and an analysis which somehow bifurcates the actions of the United States and Israel is not going to prevail, because the deeper truth is that this is who we are as a nation. Now, when I say we, I speak generically, but because there are people in Israel and people in the United States who oppose these
Right.
policies,
Right.
people all over the world who oppose the policies of genocide, ethnic cleansing, mass starvation. But this isn't just about what goes on in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. It's about the connection between uh, the U.S. and Israel, and what are the driving forces that have caused us to go in this direction, and how in the world do we change directions?
Yeah. I think that's the big question, Dennis, is but why? Why is this our foreign policy? And so I think that's what Americans are frustrated about, and what we're trying to figure out, right? Is how did Israel, so you say we're partners.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely.
What is it that well, why are we how so do
Oh,
you
well,
not
first of all, you have to look at the amount of money that we send over to Israel every year. I mean, we do that
sure.
for the United States' own designs, and it works for Israel, and it works for the U.S. foreign policy.
But what are we getting out of this? I mean, it just seems Israel must be, like I said, blackmailing, brainwashing, or bribing. I mean, that's what it seems like. But maybe there's more to this, and it's not, and it isn't that. Maybe the U.S., and I've had these thoughts of, well, maybe the
Kim,
United,
maybe
I don't know, what is it?
Kim, maybe it's just a bloody handholding, and in pursuit of mutual objectives of domination in that region. It doesn't get too complicated.
What is the U.S. benefit? I mean, what are we getting out of this?
Uh, Control over natural resources in an oil-rich region. There is and I think we're going to see an intensification of that with the fact that uh, the Chinese are working with Russia to be able to get the oil from pipelines that are proximate to each other's regions. I think there's monetary policy, there's oil politics, there's geopolitics, and any way they can wrap it up and try to sell it to the public or at least to a narrow majority in each country, they'll do. But we're not looking at two distinct elements here. We're looking at a monolith, and that's the. I think that is probably. We need to disabuse ourselves that these at this point are two separate entities with respect to foreign policy. This is monolithic. This is the West attempting to dominate nations in the Middle East and to be able to secure the resources. Whether it's the gas off the coast of Gaza, the oil that was captured in northern Syria, the there's geographical security issues. I understand that, but Israel's in the driver's seat right now as a result of the U.S. Cooperation and even direction. Look, when Elizabeth and I were in Lebanon right after the 2006 war, and we were the first people from the United States to go south into South Lebanon, south of the Litani River, all the way to Maroon Ross and the Green Line. And we saw ordnance supplied by the U.S. littering the ground, including phosphorus and every kind of munition that you could imagine, made in the United States, used by the Israeli Air Force. This isn't a new thing that's happening. We, there was a decision made in 1948, and the echoes of it continue, where the Palestinians were considered expendable. And over the years, whether it's Nakba or other developments, we've seen this periodic, what they called mowing the lawn, mowing the grass. That's a euphemism for murder. Is Israel against the Palestinians? But this is all part um, of a cancerous foreign policy, which still uses um, the military, death machines, the most powerful aircraft and munitions against people who are defenseless in the cause of a larger plan of geopolitical positioning and of power and of money. And it is shocking. It is it is it's hard to actually comprehend what is being done as we speak in Gaza City, blowing up buildings with people in there. Maybe they'll give a couple-minute warning, but they're it's a deliberate extermination of a civilian population. It's happening in our time right now, and it's happening with the resources of the United States of America and the cooperation with the U.S. You can't call it anything else.
Right.
If we use our vote in the Security Council to block any kind of action against Israel, what does that say? There's Look, I love this country. I served it in many capacities at a local, state, and federal level. But I didn't fall off a Christmas tree. I know exactly what's going on here. And
Yeah.
what's going on is that the United States foreign policy has uh, has never been corrected after World War II, and the Cold War was a prelude to little hot wars all over the world. And and war has been one of our businesses. Uh, and we've been warlords as a nation.
Okay,
And
but let's walk through this. I think we really, really want to understand this. I understand completely from the Israeli perspective why they do what they do. I get it. That actually, to me, is really clear cut. The Israelis believe, that they are. There's a few things they believe, but it's definitely ideological as to why they want to take over parts of the Middle East. We believe it's our land. God promised it to us from, those who are then less religious who just believe that they're under threat, that, anti-Semitism and the world rises up and just wants to exterminate Jews. And so they have these inner feelings that lead to we must do this. And I actually I don't agree with it, but I understand it. I can wrap my mind around how a person could get to that point and then say, well, we just have to, that land is ours, or we have to do it for security reasons, like we have no choice. So I get that. But what I don't understand, and I think what many of us don't understand, is how the US, how our congressional leaders, our presidents, cabinets, how they could all be so, you know, what is it that gets them? How are they each, because they'd have to be sold different things, I think, you know, like I said, I get it from the Israeli perspective, it's pretty simple. But from the American perspective, what is it that is getting each of, and you're laying it out. I mean, you're saying, well, there's resource. I mean, is it like, I mean, you were a member of Congress for a long time. There's a lot of you, right, that are and you guys are constantly changing over every 2 years. So how is it that hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands at this point, over the decades of people have been baited into going along with this? Like, what are you each told? I mean, clearly you did not ever buy into this. And there's very few of you that didn't. I mean, you are one of the lone ones. Thomas Massey is one right now that is a lone guy in Congress, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think a bit, is also not being gaslit. There's just a few of you, but how are the rest of these thousands, literally at this point, people, like what are they told to get it to go along with this?
well, let's sort this out. And let's first thing, I just want to make a comment about uh, uh, what may be perceived by some as Israel's justification for um, its expansion. Let's say I see all those justifications as marketing signals. They're all baloney. It's much more deeper and sinister than that. It's it's a um, it's a desire to um, uh, uh, using Zionism as the cry here to just expand in a like a mini imperial move. But when you look at the entire region, when you look at every place that Israel has dropped bombs, when you look at their justification, which now Netanyahu says, uh, we're going to define our security in terms of beyond our borders,
Mm.
which in order to justify the attack in Qatar, the attacks in Yemen and Lebanon and Syria, in Gaza, in the West Bank. I mean, this isn't the mark of a madman. This is a strategy which is blessed by the United States of America. We're enabling it.
Right.
Let's bring the discussion back home. What happens in Congress? Uh, there's there's Jewish communities in the United States, and I don't think there's anybody in any of our lives of anybody who's had any kind of social activity at all whose lives haven't been blessed in really deep ways by people happen to be Jewish.
Right.
Okay, I mean that is those kind of relationships have real impact personally on people. You start with that, um,
But the
and
communities are not, I mean, they're not everywhere. Like, I'm sitting in Idaho, there's, like, no real Jewish community
I
here.
know that, but I'm saying though that still in people's lives, and at least in mine, I could speak for myself and my own journey. Um, just happen to be people who are Jewish, some of whom, I were part of my congressional office, part of my mayor's cabinet, on and on. And in my life, I wrote a book called "The Courage to Survive," where I talk about people that played a central role in my life, and they happen to be Jewish. Now, you have to, like, let's take it a step at a time. Okay, so there's personal connections.
Mhm.
There's the Judeo-Christian ethic, okay,
Which is
which those who subscribe to the purest sense of it see a spiritual connection there, and then there's organizations which use money to gain political power, and APAC is the epitome of that. And then there's Zionism. Uh, in that case, you have to separate Zionism because Zionism has become another name for imperialism in a region and for ruthlessness and
sure, but I
for
don't think Zionists, Christian Zionists think of it like that. Right, I mean,
well,
it is obviously being used, I think, definitely by the non-religious Zionist Israelis, and there's plenty of them. But on the Christian front here in the United States, I think the Zionists, the Christian Zionists are genuine. I think they genuinely believe, right, like, they're ushering in the second coming of Jesus Christ, and that
listen.
these are
There's
the
you can I Kim, you're right. You can't have any motivation more powerful than the spiritual belief that support for Israel will enable the elect to be at the plain of Megiddo and to see the second coming of Jesus.
right.
That if for people who believe that, that organizes their life, and I understand that.
That's why I'm saying I understand the Israeli fervor toward what they're doing, because it's so easy and simple to, whether they're religious or not religious, the religious Israelis, it's God gave us this land, and they're like, yeah, this was promised to us, and that's a strong belief. If religion is a strong thing, and then the other group, it's either this or we get holocausted again. That it's just so simple to understand how they're giving these two lines, and they're all gobbling it up. But for
Well, well,
Americans, it just seems like there's 25 different lines that each, and then
well,
each
well.
one of
Let's say, if we're talking about Christian Zionists, let me give you two lines. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus taught us and that, and the wisdom of that has held societies together for generations and for thousands of years. Um, the thing about moral principles is you just don't pick and choose which ones you like and which ones you don't like.
yeah,
Right now, the Ten Commandments, if we want to go back to the time of Moses and the apocryphal meaning of all that, uh, thou shalt not kill. Well, hello, there's hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who are being murdered right now under the guise of, well, we need to protect ourselves from what? I mean, if we get to the point where there are no rules anymore, where some call it the law of the jungle. Well, even the jungle has its own ethics. We're seeing a whole new type of expression of unrestrained power, and it is destructive to the nth degree. And if we do not find a way to not just sanction what's happening, but to put an end to it, we are on the path to the destruction of the world itself.
yeah.
And you cannot look at what Israel's doing with the support of the United States without understanding the long-term implications of this for the world. And no one's being fooled. There's a reason why. the the SEO and BRICS and others are coming together because they sense that the U.S. has departed from norms.
Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.